From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is U.S. Farm Report.
Welcome to U.S. Farm Report this weekend. I'm Tyne Morgan, and here's what's in store over the next 60 minutes. Are trade tensions simmering with China? Mixed reports in the U.S. causes China to react. That's as the Trump administration says a roadmap for a trade deal with India is now set. As the domino of trade deals start to fall, we'll take you to Vietnam.
As a young producer, that as our yields continue to rise, there's so many countries ready to take our product as well.
A ground level look at a country hungry for protein. And here at home, wet weather delays planting for some, but for others,
this is definitely our earliest start.
It's a record start with a possible record finish. Now for the news. Well, every day brings new information in the tariff war between U.S. and China. The financial markets soaring midweek after it was reported President Trump is considering cutting tariffs on Chinese goods. But China's Commerce Ministry firing back, saying there have been no negotiations, calling the report groundless with no factual basis. The Wall Street Journal first reporting on this, quoting one former senior White House official who said tariffs on China were likely to come down from 145% to roughly between 50% and 65%. President Trump was asked about the latest on the situation with China on Wednesday, and he said at the time that the U.S. would have a fair deal with the country. Commerce Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent adding he expects a de-escalation in what he called an unsustainable tariffs showdown against China, but that an actual trade deal with China is likely 2 to 3 years out. And we're keeping a close eye on the situation with China, with sorghum leaders saying they're cautiously optimistic.
We've played this before, and we're hopeful that we can get some answers. Anything is better than nothing. We definitely are in favor of righting the wrong, but being careful about how we right the wrong and make sure we don't lose farmers along the way.
Usually up to 90% of U.S. sorghum exports go to China, but with the tariffs, U.S. sorghum is essentially out of the Chinese market. And 12 states are now challenging President Trump's tariffs. California was the first, filing a lawsuit in federal court against the Trump administration, saying it lacks the authority to impose a 10% tariff on all imports. The state's Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom making the announcement in the farm-rich Central Valley at an almond farm. Newsom saying no state is poised to lose more due to the tariffs than California.
Almonds you see around us, export dependent. Pistachios, export dependent. Few industries will be hammered more than the toxic uncertainty of these Trump tariffs.
Since then, 11 other states have filed suit. And new developments in a plan by the Trump administration that would have imposed steep fees on Chinese-linked vessels that dock at U.S. ports. The U.S. Trade Representative placing in the Federal Register a watered-down proposal from initial fees it had considered of up to $1.5 million per port of call. One of the key amendments exempts ocean vessels that come to the U.S. empty or just in ballast that are then loaded with bulk commodities. This means U.S. soybeans exported to China won't be subject to the fees, and neither will shorter routes.
So we were very happy to see these bulk exports being exempt from that, because most of the exports of soybeans, of grain, and of other bulk commodities leaving the United States, the ships that provide that service will come to this country empty. You don't usually have a full front haul and a full back haul.
The original proposal also stipulated a fee of $500,000 to up to $1.5 million on each port of call in the U.S., which was also eliminated. Fees won't be implemented for 180 days and are open for comment, which leaves time for further adjustments. And yogurt maker Chobani is growing again. Our partners at dairyherd.com reporting on this, saying the company broke ground this week on a new $1.2 billion production facility in Rome, New York. The new plant will sit on 150 acres at the former Griffiths Air Force Base. It is expected to house up to 28 production lines and produce more than 1 billion pounds of dairy products per year, which will significantly ramp up Chobani's milk usage and increase demand. It comes on the heels of an announcement last month regarding a $500 million expansion at its Twin Falls, Idaho facility. That's it for the news. Well, severe weather hitting again this week with more rain for some areas already inundated with rains so far this spring. Drew Lerner of World Weather tells us what this means for the weeks ahead. Next.
U.S. Farm Report is brought to you by Pioneer. Next level yields start with genetics proven to perform. Pioneer. Next level yields start here.